Satang Prasanga.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. How are you doing? I pray that all is well with you and your families at this time. So today we're continuing with the second part of this letter to Bhagavan Prabhu, and it's a very intriguing letter. We have a very interesting question that comes up here. So let's read through the letter and see what is this question that he has. So we catch the letter at this point. Regarding your question, what is meant by an object regaining spiritual quality? So he's asking, what is understood by this point that an object is able to regain its spiritual quality? So Prabhupada explains here, the answer is that Krishna is pure knowledge and therefore he is the supreme person. So the scriptures tell us that every living entity has an innate love for Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Shadya Kabunoi Shravanadi Suddha Chitta Karaya Udai. That within the heart of every living entity, Krishna consciousness is latent. So us as human beings, we are the prominent custodians of relationship, spirituality, and religion and religiosity to the Supreme Lord. No other species on this planet has this understanding of what is God. They all are just living their lives according to their karmic reaction, and they're just doing the activities of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So they're just burning out their karma. But the human being, he's able to incur karma, or if he transcends the laws of action and reaction by doing yoga, that's why it's called karma yoga, then he can enter into a realm of connecting to the Lord on a higher transcendental level through devotion. And that's called bhakti yoga. So that is very important, because only by that understanding can you see the spiritual nature of everything. That's why in the 5th chapter this verse comes, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Bravina Gavihastani Sunicheva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshana. That a Pandit, somebody who's learned, who actually has spiritual knowledge, he sees everything equally, Samadarshana. So what is he seeing? He's seeing the spiritual quality. Because surely everything is not equal. The elephant size to the ant size, you can't even compare it. So what is he seeing that is equal? It's the spiritual quality. So this is how, so how does he spiritualize it? It's either that he has able to see the spiritual quality within that entity, or if it's like a plant, he's able to connect that plant to the Supreme Lord by offering its fruits. Just like a cauliflower plant or a broccoli plant or a green beans plant, the fruits of what that plant is offering, the Brahmana then takes that and he offers it to the Lord, and then that plant gets spiritually connected, which is called yoga, to the Supreme Lord. So therefore it's so important that a Brahmana is able to understand this principle. It's a very important question, because only Brahmanas or spiritual practitioners who are practicing bhakti understand the nature of the world, and they are endeavoring to connect everything to Krishna in service. So the quality is already there, otherwise how can you take it out? If there's no fire within wood, how are we getting fire out? One may say, well, we're putting matches. That is the catalyst. That is not the fire. If there is no fire in there, the catalyst won't work. So therefore, we need to understand that everything has a spiritual nature. Everything is connected spiritually. And by understanding that nature, we enhance their opportunity by connecting them to Krishna. This is Vaishnavism. It's a very deep principle. which is just being touched upon here. Prabhupada is explaining here, Krishna is pure knowledge and therefore he is the Supreme Person. So Prabhupada is explaining that one of the qualities of Krishna, Krishna has many qualities. Parasa Sakti Vibideya Suyate, Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Gyan, knowledge, is just one aspect. This is where Prabhupada is quoting this from. And therefore Krishna is the Supreme Person because he has multifarious energies under his control. And these energies are connecting to everything. The problem is we in a conditioned state can't see that. And see there means can't understand that. We're thinking, oh, everything is matter around us. It's matter because we are connecting to it as matter. If you see it, if you understand it in yoga, connected to Krishna, then you'll see everything has a spiritual nature to it. And that is another reality. That is another level of reality. We are only relating to reality with the five senses. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's our reality. Bhumi apo nala vayu kam mano buddhi revacha. Ahamkar vimodatma bhinnam prakriti astada. Arjuna, this is my separated energies. And for us in human form, only five is prominent. But when Kapila Dev, in the third chapter, third canto of Bhagavatam, when he's speaking to Devahuti, he gives there 26 different elements which this whole creation is made up of, including the soul. And we are only relating to five. So what is the reality of the other 20 elements of nature, 21 elements of creation? We have no idea. And because we have no idea, it's like the ostrich in the ground. We put our head in the ground, we don't see anything. That means nothing is there. So science is telling us today that we only understand 5% of creation. 95% of creation is what is called dark matter. This is what the best science is telling us today. And what is that? They don't know. They don't know. But Vedic science tells us we're only relating to five elements of creation. That's this earth, water, fire, air, ether. The rest 21 elements we have no idea of in this conditioned state. But as we evolve our consciousness, then more and more of creation will be revealed to us. And then ultimately we will see that everything is connected spiritually. We are just seeing it because we are in a material framework. So it's a very deep science, this. Let's go on. In other words, he is the supreme power, and his power is manifested throughout by different energies. So that's what I was telling you just now. Parasha Sakti Vibideya Suyate. He has many different energies. As much as the power of the fireplace is expanded by light and heat. So what is the power of the fireplace? When we're relating to fire, what are we relating to? This is so interesting because in Vedic science is one of my great interests. So in Vedic science, it explains that when you're looking at fire, what is fire? What is it? If you look at it, you'll do, it's this thing that has heat and light. You're only describing it. You're not answering the question, what is it? Don't describe it to me. You're giving me the symptoms of it. It gives light, it gives heat. What is it? We don't know. And if we take it one step further, by the perception of the eyes, we're able to see. But the eyes only sees anything that the light bounces off. It never sees the object. What we're seeing is the light bouncing off the object. Vedic science is very, very deep. So what do we see when we see something? It's the light. Because no light, you don't see anything there, right? You switch the lights off, you don't see. You switch the light on, you see. So that means what you are seeing is the light bouncing off the object. What is the object? That's a very deep point now, right? So we never know what the world around us is. We're looking for God, to see everything. And yet what we're actually seeing is the light bouncing off the object, the light reflecting off the object. That's all that it is. We never actually see the object. And that light reflection bouncing off is an inverted image in the brain. It even gets even more complicated. It goes upside down in the brain. So how do you expect to get truth from that kind of mechanism? How do you expect to understand perfection from that kind of mechanism? It's impossible. But we depend on sight so much. We depend on pramana of pratyaksha, direct sense perception so much. But all it is a reflection of the object. So what is the object? You never actually know what the object is. You just see the reflection of light bouncing off the object. Can you understand that point? It's a very deep point. Think about it a little bit. So Prabhupada goes on to say here, when we perceive heat and light, it means that we perceive the original fireplace. So when we're experiencing heat and light, then we know that is the source of the fire, and that is must be the original fireplace. Just like that, around us, there's all different energies operating. So where is the source of the energies? Where is the energetic source of all these energies? Prabhupada says that. So Prabhupada explains here, the perception of Krishna in everything is actually Krishna consciousness. So to be able to perceive Krishna in everything through his energies. So when Prabhupada is walking on the beach and he's looking at the ocean, he's understanding this is Krishna's energy. He's looking at the creatures, this is Krishna's energy. The pure devotee can see Krishna everywhere. How does he do that? Because he's understanding this is all Krishna's energies. Prabhupada goes on to say, in our conditioned state, we take it for granted something as separated from Krishna, but actually it is not so. Nothing can be separated from Krishna. Everything is resting on Krishna. Where does he get this point from? Bhagavad Gita Chatur Shloki. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravatyate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So he's saying everything animate and inanimate, Arjun, is resting upon me. Just like pearls are strung on a thread. Everything is resting on me. So for one who's a devotee, he understands that this is all Krishna's energies. And he's interacting with that as a part and parcel of Krishna, as an expression of Krishna. Prabhupada goes on to say, therefore things which are considered now matter, when dovetailed for the cause of the absolute truth or Krishna, regain the spiritual quality. So Prabhupada is saying nothing is actually material. It is material to you because you are in a material state of consciousness. If you have spiritual consciousness, you can see everything is spiritual because everything is the energy of the Lord. This is a very, very deep point. I don't want to get into it much here because this is just an elementary class, but there is a very deep science behind all we've discussed so far. So Prabhupada goes on to say, another example may be cited in this connection. When we cook foodstuffs for eating ourselves, it is a different thing from the foodstuffs which is prepared and offered to Krishna. So he's saying here, the items are the same, the activity is the same, but one is karma yoga and the other is bhakti yoga. Once we understand Krishna is the main ingredient, the main element, it becomes bhakti yoga. Without that understanding, it's karma yoga. Prabhupada goes on to say, the same dal rice is material for one purpose, but the same thing becomes spiritual when it is dovetailed with Krishna. So when it's in its ordinary state, everybody's cooking dal and rice at home. So in that state, if they're not cooking for Krishna and offering to Krishna, then there's no spiritual energy in that food. Once we connect it to Krishna, he spiritualizes it. So Prabhupada makes a very deep point here now as he summarizes this whole thing. So on the higher platform, There is nothing material when everything is accepted in relationship with Krishna or the Supreme Spirit. Actually, nothing is material around us. Everything is spiritual, but it's acting material because we are in material consciousness. If we change our consciousness to spiritual consciousness, then the same thing behaves in a spiritual way. It becomes, Prabhupada gives the example of food and food that is offered to Krishna. So he goes on to say, I think this clarifies your question. Yes, you have talked with Garga Muni, and actually I am staying in a very nice house. Although the rent is very high, $600 per month. So let us see as Krishna desires. But I have told him to find out a house which is not so highly charged. Please offer my blessings to your good wife Lakshmi Muni and Jagadish Chandra, who has written nice poetry which I am sending to the editors of Back to Godhead. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So it was a very interesting discussion we had. Sorry if it got a bit technical, but the knowledge is available if somebody is interested in this kind of topic. And the simple takeaway point, Prabhupada is saying, try to see with knowledge everything is spiritual around you by connecting it to Krishna. So I hope you have a good day today. Please join us again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.